Malam Balaji Abdullahi, the National Publicity Secretary of the ADC, joins us live on the program this morning from our Abuja studio. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
You've been speaking a lot about security in the country, governance, even the president's trip, how you think that governance should be approached. It's been a very busy period for you, certainly. But first, we have to speak to this big one politically now. The decision by the People's Democratic Party seems to have boxed the ADC into a corner. Now that they have zoned to the south, of course, we know where the APC is going as well. All eyes on the ADC now. We know that Mr. Atiku Abubakar is definitely running. So where does that leave the ADC? Because it looks like you're going to be operating from a tight corner, north or south.
I did not hear anything you said.
All right, I'm going to take it again, but let me be clear. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Better. So I was saying that you've been speaking quite a lot about governance and country security, the economy, the president's trips and all of that. But I'd like to begin with this big story, the PDP's decision now. And it appears that has put you in a tight corner as the ADC, the coalition, because we know what the APC is doing. We know where the PDP is going, both south. But the ADC now is a big question because we know Mr. Atiku Abubakar wants to run and is from the north. So where does that leave the ADC now in all of this mix?
Well, let me say that as far as ADC is concerned, we're not having that kind of conversation now. We're not having conversation about zoning, where the president will come from, where the president will not come from. As you know, the coalition just moved into ADC just about 2 months ago. So there's so much work to do in building the parties, especially mobilizing the people at the grassroots level and setting up the relevant structures. So at ADC level, we're not having conversation about where the president will come from, presidential candidate for our party will come from. When we get there, we'll take a decision. But let me say that it's clear what APC has done. I mean, no one is probably going to come out to challenge President Bola Tinubu in 2027 from the APC platform. But what surprised some of us from the decision of PDP yesterday is that why are they taking this decision 2 years to the general election? I mean, in that room, they are very experienced people, and they know the implication of showing their hands too early. So it's either they are playing a predetermined game and they baiting some people to come, because they've been shopping around for who could be a potential presidential candidate on the platform of the party, hoping that if they are able to get the right kind of person, it will revive the party. So we are not bothered with what PDP has done. They know the game they are playing, and Nigerians can see right through it, the game they are playing. Because it's very difficult to determine which PDP you are talking about. I listened to Professor Adibi while you were talking to him earlier, and he made this point quite clearly. The PDP people are not naive people. They are very experienced politicians. So for them to be taking that kind of decision 2 years ahead of presidential of general election, there must be a game on, and we can see right through it. So we are not pressured, we are not bothered. We are focused on our party, and we are believing that there are still two parties in Nigeria now, APC, the ruling party, and the main opposition party, the ADC. So we are not going to disappoint Nigerians.
It's interesting how you just summarize and say, well, the ADC, good run, hasn't a lot of momentum as it is, but the argument will be to the effect that in terms of formidability, power holding, there's not really much on the table. So what I mean by that is, how many persons are governors from the ADC, how many persons are legislators from the ADC within that framework? So when do you think is not too early in the day to begin to, I know you're saying showing your hand too early, but Nigerians are also looking in the direction of the ADC for clarity and some level of direction, because that seemed to be the nuance we're hearing as far as the PDP is concerned so far. Although this PDP has made a statement, at least even with their confusion that we've seen so far, they're beginning to say, okay, let's leave this thing in the South. So when is it going to be not too early for the ADC to begin to be clear for people that are alluding to the fact that ADC was put together in favor of Atiku Abubakar?
Well, let me say that PDP know what they are doing. They are playing a game, and everybody can see they are playing a game. It's part of a larger game, and we can see it. You know, ADC is very clear about this. For us, you know, when people say that the coalition was put together for the purpose of a particular candidate running election, if you read the papers yesterday, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar himself had to come out to say, look, I'm going to run for the president. So if this whole thing was put together for him, why would he need to come out to say, to reiterate that he's running for president? Don't forget, in our ranks we still have the likes of Peter Obi, we still have the likes of Rotimi Amechi, we still have other people who are also interested in running for that. And we have maintained that they all stand an equal chance. But you see, the most important point, which we seem to be missing here, is that the general election is still 2027, it's still 2 years away. Why are we so preoccupied? Why are we so preoccupied and behaving in such a way that Nigerians can begin to look at the entire political elite across the political divides and think that we don't care about what they are going through? Because the only thing that will matter to Nigerians now is whatever we are doing, how is addressing the daily challenges that they face, how is bringing them closer to the kind of respite that they expect from this administration. So what we seem not to have realized or internalized sufficiently is that the political elite generally, regardless of our party affiliation or orientation, have more or less lost the trust of the people. So every opportunity we have is an opportunity for redemption. But the way some of these parties and politicians are carrying on at this time, it further reinforces the thinking of the people that politicians only care about politics. Like I said, Professor Adibe said that, I said, oh, it's all a game. No, it's not a game. It's serious. It's a matter of life and death. If you go and talk to people who are dying, being slaughtered in Zamfara or in Katsina, and tell them that this is all about a game, it's not a game. It's about people's survival, you know. So I think, I see everybody's taking a cue from the ruling party. The ruling party itself has abandoned the primary purpose of being elected. They've abandoned governance and they are in full political throttle. So maybe that's what is causing the pressure for PDP to do what they are doing, or it's part of the game that they're all playing together, you know. But for us in ADC, we are very clear what brought us here. And we are not going to say, oh, because they are behaving the way they are behaving, we are going to. The decision is ADC's decision, and at the right time, we are going to take that decision. What is most important to us is to convince Nigerians that we represent that alternative that can bring respite to their current suffering.
Malam Abdullahi, I think when he said it's a game, I think he was speaking from the strategy point of view, that every political party, they have a strategy they are playing out. I think that's what the prof was referring to when he said it's a game. And let's be clear, you also have a strategy. Every political party, every politician has a strategy book that they are following through. So I just wanted to lay that bare. But in terms of the point you made about the ADC now, I mean, you crowned yourself the main opposition party, Malam Abdullahi. I find that quite interesting, because when the PDP made that decision yesterday, you had the FCT minister coming out to say, oh, finally, he's been vindicated. The PDP has now done what it was meant to do in 2023. They've done it in 2025. So for the ADC, I hope you're not going to go down that route, that the PDP went down and ended up where it is now, with perhaps having a candidate from the north. So I just want to ask you, with the benefit of hindsight, having seen the PDP example, would you also be making that same mistake, in quote, by going to north when everybody's going south?
Are you playing your own game now?
Well, yes. My strategy is to ask you questions.
No, because
answers.
because you've already foreclosed anything that I'm going to say. Because how do I answer that question? You are saying that it was a mistake when PDP did it. So if I say no, we are not going to make that mistake, then you say, oh, they've already decided. If I say, oh, we are going to do it anyway, you say, oh, they've already decided. So that's why I say, are you playing your own game now?
I'm just asking the questions.
So it's not a question. So the most important point that I seek to reinforce is that ADC does not see that as a priority at this time, and we are not having that conversation at this time.
All right, fantastic. I know that everybody is keeping theirs close to their chest. So let's talk about the issue of governance. One of the things that the government is saying and doing, which I want to maybe interpret without being their spokesperson for you to intervene, is to the effect that they really had no choice. You know, this has been like a broken record we've repeated and repeated. The reason is because alternative ideas are being sought in the room to what they have already presented to us. It's clear what the APC has presented. This is the best they have presented, and Nigerians have their scorecard as far as this best is concerned, depending on who you're speaking to. So their position is, we came in with a huge wage bill, and the smartest thing to do, rather than wait for the economy to tank, is to just send in these shocks by taking our subsidy from as many places as we take our subsidy to free up fund to do whatever it is they want to do. On the other hand, the interest rate is quite high. It was going wild at some point. The Naira went on a free fall. It has now stabilized at 1,500, in excess of that, slightly in excess of that, depending on which day of the week you're looking at. So with the interest rate being high and the Naira being stable, it's good for investors because at least they know what they are dealing with. So outside in, it looks good because if you do what they call carry trading, it's a good space. You get loan from low interest climate, come to high interest climate, and you get your money back. But for insiders like all of us, whether industrialists or citizens, it's biting hard because it's high for all of us. I'm just painting a picture of what the APC is doing. What do you find wrong with this picture, and what do you think we can do right?
Well, I mean, you used the word shock. They probably meant to shock the system, but what they ended up doing is actually not far from electrocuting Nigerians in the process of applying that shocks. Because if you, like you rightly said, there are people who will tell you now the economy is stable because it provides the right climate for them to do business. But what does this mean to the ordinary person who should actually be the main beneficiary or the main purpose and objective of governance? Let me admit that some of the things that the APC government has done, they probably meant to do well. But the problem usually is in the delivery, in the implementation, whether they are actually delivering on what they set out to achieve and not just making announcements and grabbing headlines and all that. Last week they said they have distributed 419 billion naira to about 6 million households. I mean, forget that figure sounds ominously close to 419. That you know, maybe some kind of fraudulent sleep. Because I don't know which 6 million Nigerians have received 419 billion. So for me, the thing is not that they don't want to do some of these things, but they don't just have the capacity. And that's why it's surprising sometimes. I mean, the $800 million loan they got from the World Bank for this social intervention to cushion the effect of the shocks that you have talked about. The World Bank knows more than perhaps all of us that Nigeria does not have any real social welfare infrastructure to speak of, and that this government does not have the capacity. That the previous administration did not have the capacity. They said they spent 619 billion on social welfare intervention. This government got $800 million from the World Bank, and now they say they've spent 419 billion. But where are the beneficiaries? You can see in countries where conditional cash transfers, which is what they are trying to do, have been implemented, whether it's Brazil or Argentina or Colombia, these interventions are built on robust social welfare infrastructure that ensure that in the end, whatever intervention, the beneficiary, the targeted beneficiaries actually get the benefits of what they are doing. But in Nigeria, it does not exist. So some of these things, you hear big numbers, but they end up being slush funds. So what is going to make the critical difference is to develop the capacity to actually ensure that people who are bearing the brunt of the economic shock actually receive these cushions. But at the moment, it does not exist. So what we just hear is headlines, declarations, numbers of big, huge money being spent, you know. So at the end of the day, it's become meaningless. So when they come out to say, oh, we have done this, Nigerians are wondering, in which country did you do it? In what planet? Because we are not receiving it. So some people are probably making merry somewhere with these funds. So what I'm saying is that the introduction of the shock measures that I introduced, you mentioned the two of them, the withdrawal of subsidy, the floating of the naira, the combination of that, how they've calibrated them, had, like I said, more or less electrocuted Nigerians rather than just apply the shock. Now, they said they are introducing social interventions, but nobody is getting it. So it's obvious, like you said, that they don't know what next to do. So if they don't know what next to do, the only options left for Nigerians is to look in the other direction. And like I said, it is clear that Nigerians know that this APC is not going to do more than what they have done. Already they are in the campaign mode. They are not going to do anything anyway. So it is our responsibility as opposition party to convince Nigerians that we're actually better prepared, we actually have better alternatives to propose. And we are going to do that in the coming weeks.
All right, it's very interesting. Coming weeks or maybe coming years, because 2027, Malam Abdullahi is still. So I don't know. Just to be clear, do you mean the 2027 after 2027, or is there something I'm missing here?
I don't get that. I don't.
No, you said that the ADC will change that in the coming weeks.
No. I said we are going to make our propositions, our alternative proposals, ready for Nigerians in the coming weeks, so they can see the alternative that we are proposing to what APC is doing.
Oh, I see. So now I get it clearer. But you've been speaking about the president foreign trips, saying he spent a huge chunk of his time abroad, and there's this travel tracker from time to time of the president's travels. In 2023, you see he had about 12 plus. In 2024, that's like the highest so far. The president had, let me see, I've actually lost count, almost 20 or thereabouts. Then 2025, it's quite a lot too. It's nearing 10 or so. And when you see the breakdown, you see majority of them is said to be for business purposes. Then, of course, there are the occasional private trips and the leaves and all of that. So speak to us about your grouse regarding the president's foreign trips, because the APC has also responded to you in that sense, saying that you lack an understanding of governance, saying that the approach of the APC to politics is partly, or rather your approach is partly responsible for your defeats in the recently conducted by-election. So what exactly is the grouse you have with the president's foreign trips?
Well, let me add this to the statistic you are trying to paint. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has traveled 1.4 times in a month. An average of 1.4 times in a month since he became president of Nigeria. He's probably going to be the most traveled president. The point we are making is that I'm not saying that the president has no business traveling. The president of Nigeria is the #1 marketer of Nigeria. But what we're saying is that what are the real purposes of this travel? What are the benefits that we can see? How many other presidents in the world are traveling as frequently as President Bola Tinubu is doing while the country is in this state? Or are we saying that the solution to the problems that Nigerians face lie in other countries rather than in Nigeria? I mean, so these are the concerns, and that's why we have repeatedly called for the president to appoint ambassadors. Because if we have ambassadors on ground in many of these countries, perhaps the president will not need to be just setting around the world and to attend to many of these issues themselves. I lack understanding of governance, like they said, but what I know is that there are issues, urgent issues that require the president to be around. Some gunmen invaded a mosque in Karanamud, I think, in Katsina, yes, last week. If that happened in any of these countries that the president liked to visit, 39 people shot dead, body counts climbing up to 50. If it had happened in any of these countries, whether the Japan or the Brazil that the president has headed to now, they are not going to the president is not going to just be attending meetings and saying he's winning investor. It will be declared as a critical national emergency. Imagine the president of Nigeria visiting that place and saying enough is enough. But nobody is talking. Nobody is saying anything. Yeah, there's one statement issued by government spokesman saying we condemn. Condemning? Is that all we elected you to do, to condemn? ADC can condemn. Other parties can condemn. But your job is not to condemn bandits. Your job is to stop what they are doing. They are now able to create a fiefdom for themselves and actually charging taxes in Zamfara. So some of these things you see is just... So what we are saying is that the president, we don't have a problem. The president can travel. But there are urgent issues that need to be attended that require the president to be on ground. Some issues cannot be outsourced. They are the president's memo, and the presidents have to deal with them. But he's not on ground. So, and that's why we say if he's caught between traveling abroad and staying here, the problem is issues need to be attended to abroad. Where if you appoint ambassadors, perhaps to take some of this burden off you, then you can sit on your desk in Abuja and actually face this and be president. You know, sometimes you wonder if anybody is in charge. So these are the issues we are raising. It's not that we are saying the president should not travel, but there are issues. At what cost? At what cost? We ask them to appoint ambassadors. Look, let me say something quickly on the issue of ambassadorial appointment. I don't want to be ambassadors. I know they won't appoint me. But the point I'm making is that even if they appoint the ambassadors today, it's almost too late. No, because the letter of credence that they will take to other countries that they will post ambassadors to, one, United States or Russia or whatever. We've seen cases where we post ambassadors and they reject them after vetting them. So this is August. By next year, we'll be in full political throttle. So even if they appoint them today, those countries will take their own sweet time to vet these ambassadors. And we've seen cases where they've rejected ambassadors. Now, even after accepting them, they will still need opportunity to present their letter of credence to the home countries that are receiving them. And these countries don't do it. Nigeria is now here ready. They will probably wait for 5-6 countries to. So before you know it, it is end of 2027. So not even during the Civil War did we not have ambassadors on ground. This is the first time that the administration will not have ambassadors. I read somewhere last week that many of the ambassadors are actually being retired out of existence because of... So these are some of the dynamics that in play. The issues at hand are too serious, but the APC government, they are applying a business as usual solution, the headlines and the slogans and all that when blood of Nigerians are being spilled all over the place. So that's our concern.
Oh, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, this is a very important conversation, certainly. And again, the coming days and weeks will be vital to shaping public discourse about good governance, politics, and all of that. Now, we're looking at the ADC to see what you come up with in the build-up to 2027. But we have to thank you so much. Maybe another time we'll talk about your literary works, your non-fiction works, and the rest. I think you're one of the most diverse politicians, APC, PDP. You've been there. You've worked as a minister. So maybe another time we'll have a sit-down. But we have to thank you for your time, Madam Abdullahi.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.